Back at it, messing around with the wireless power system. So I'm able to run it off of two transistors, special made, tip 41C / custom. They turn on and off at 3 megahertz, which seems to really do the trick for my system. And we get interesting activity in vacuum tubes, fluorescent tubes, pickup coils ignite, bulbs glow to max brightness. It can run off DC. We're only consuming less than 30 watts of power, and I can power up so much stuff. This is a receiver coil, just hollow tube, string of LED lights on it with the 2 diodes that come off to prevent detuning in the coil. I mentioned that in older videos. There's pickup coils. This is a pickup coil running the bright bulb. I can just walk away with it, put it in range, and it ignites. Extremely bright bulb. Just a hollow tube. As long as you construct it with the principles I mentioned in the older videos, it will always work. Power levels are getting pretty decent. Enough to shock the shit out of your hand. The range got even better too. Fluorescents glow brightly in range. About 2 feet away and it's glowing. Still glowing. Still glowing. And I'm like almost 3 feet away now. Look at all that activity. All that power from something so tiny when properly constructed. Amazing. And it all uses less than 30 watts of power. And I've measured it before, proved it in other videos, undeniable, over unity. I had it run itself off batteries too. That's in older videos. This was the old amp that used to run things, an old amplifier with a signal generator. Don't need that anymore. It got even simpler. It can run off batteries or DC now. It's a modified Slayer exciter circuit with my own custom touches to it. 2 transistors set up, tip 41C, they're in parallel. They turn on and off at 3 megahertz. I got these, ordered them custom. I mean, it's not really custom, you just say I want a transistor that turns on and off at 3 megahertz, and boom, they ship it to you for like $5 a pack of 10. So we have a primary coil, secondary coil, and the extra coil. And you can see the electrical discharge that occurs off the top. And when that occurs, the system becomes detuned and has energy loss. See if I can show some of it. Like, you don't want electrical discharge. That's a form of waste and it's detuning. So there we go. Now there's no more energy loss. And that's bright. It's giving off heat. Oh, and it can also wirelessly light bulbs too. I'll show that. So if I bring this bulb just close to the transmitter, it will glow. Like, look at these amazing effects. And that reminds me, I was gonna show this off. Interesting plasma effect will appear. See if I can get it just right. And this bulb gets very, very hot when this effect occurs. Right there, that plasma effect. And this bulb gets way, way too hot for 20 watt input, 22. And we have that much plasma on the bulb. Like, this bulb will get so hot it'll burn you. Like, that bulb is scorching hot. If the heat from the plasma that's formed in there could be captured and turned to electricity, that's another form of overunity, undoubtedly. Like, look at that plasma that's appearing. I'll try and turn this away so you can see it better. Like, look at that. So many amazing effects. I don't want the light bulb to explode. This is a regular incandescent light bulb. Like, sometimes the plasma will fill the whole globe. And that bulb is hot to touch. I once had like a weird spiral pattern appear in it. There it kind of goes. All sorts of crazy stuff. And when these effects occur, the input power drops. Like, the plasma's intense right now, and the input power dropped. Like, look at that. 16 watt input, 18. And look at the plasma intensity. Like, that's scorching hot. That could probably boil water if I let it go long enough. Like, I think what's going on is there's a super high electric field being kicked up, and at 3 megahertz, it's gaining power from the radio signals of the sun. That's what it claims to be happening from the 3 old books I'm reading. That's how it works, and it all seems to work. Such immense power from such small, simple devices. And just absolutely amazing effects occur in different materials. Range is pretty decent. I'll plug the bulb back in. Oh, it hurts my eyes now. That's bright. And there's no dimness in the system. No increase in power consumption. Never goes above 26 watts. As you can see, it's just my little adjustable DC power supply. That runs the special system, and that's bright. And we got primary coil, secondary coil, extra coil. It is a true miniature version of a Tesla magnifying transmitter. The dimensions have to be perfect, quarter the scale, mid-scale, quarter the scale again. As long as you make everything divisible or multiples of itself, you're in the correct ballpark. What else did I want to show? Oh yeah, I'm going to upload another video where I was messing around with it. It's kind of long, but I blew this out because this was kicking out like 2 amps or something at, I think it was like 140 volts at 2 amps, and it was enough to like probably really hurt your hand if you shorted it out. But I'm gonna upload that video soon too. I'm gonna have to fix that. It's still in a lot of the experimental phase. I did make it simpler, smaller, a little more powerful. Don't need to buy an expensive amp, which takes a month to get here. There's no point in getting that. Yeah, the power levels have become pretty good. Almost enormous power levels. Like, you can probably run half a room with just a little bit of input power. And the system is so powerful now, it can even light up bulbs just by being near the transmitter. Like any type of bulb, look at that. That's insane. The trick is to not have any electrical discharges occurring off of the transmitter. That is a form of energy loss, and it will detune your system. That is not how a real Tesla coil works. They are not giant spark machines. A real Tesla coil is designed to activate every device within its field of influence with no electrical discharge. Yeah, I'm just scratching the surface of how powerful this thing can become. Gonna have to order some really good batteries, DC monitoring equipment like DC input-output meters, that sort of thing. Completely blow people out of the water who say it's not over Unity. It's getting very refined, becoming very interesting. And anyone who says over Unity doesn't exist, run outside during a lightning storm holding a metal rod and tell me free electricity doesn't exist. It's out there, you just gotta capture it somehow. And the way the books I read explain it is when you have a high frequency signal coming from the sun or the stars, that signal doesn't experience energy loss, or it experiences nearly no energy loss because the power rides along the surface of the Earth, which is the conductor, experiences almost no resistance, and your coil system can capture it as long as you're driving at the frequency it's at. So like if you're driving at 3 megahertz, which seems to be the best, you get tremendous output power from receiver coils. So that's kind of the science behind it. The free energy is coming from the universe, or stars, or other cosmic bodies. Basically, we made a new type of solar panel. Except of receiving sun rays, it receives radio waves. And you need a small input driving source to capture the signal. Kind of like how you power up a radio receiver. And then once it's going, it's very powerful. And yeah, I figured I'd talk a bit, explain how it works, at least the theory behind it. It's very picky. You have to construct those parameters that I detailed in the older videos. I reduced, my primary coil used to be 1.3 inches long. And I cut that in half to get a higher voltage. It still works fine because I just cut it in half. You can't have random length coils. So you would have quarter the length, you'd have a 4-inch coil, and then a 1 inch. This is 1 inch. So everything's a quarter the size of each other in respect to itself. I hope I'm explaining that properly. I think that's as long as I want the video to go on for. I guess I'll ignite the big tube and that'll be it. The power levels are enormous from something so small. I mean, look at that. That could be a screenshot. That could be a screenshot. Yeah, more to come.